Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Lenny. I'll be your host today, and what I'm going to be covering is an introduction to Jungle Scout. So this is more if you're beginning and you want to get a bit of familiarity with the tool. So what we're going to be doing is I'm going to go through a demonstration of the tool for around about 20 minutes or so. After that point, we'll go into a Q&A session where I'll answer some of your questions, or as many as I can, based off of what I've covered. So if you do have any questions along the way, please just hold on to them or just drop them in the chat box and I'll answer them all at once at the end. So let's dive into it now. So you should be able to see my screen here, and what you're seeing here is the first screen when you first log into Jungle Scout. Now let's quickly talk about the dashboard. So if you go over here on the right hand side, you've got your settings. You can update your account information, your billing information, and your subscriptions, so you can easily see which membership type you've got and change it if necessary. Now into the tools themselves. You'll see that Jungle Scout is broken down into two main sections. You've got find products and then also keywords. You probably spend most of your time in find products, or that's where I'd recommend starting. The keywords section can help with your product research, but is more so for helping you optimize your listing once you've launched. Now, of the three tools in Find Products, I'd recommend starting out in the Product Database and Niche Hunter. These two tools will really help you if you have no idea what you want to sell, if you've got no product ideas. And so what the Product Database is, or what we've done here, is recatalog Amazon's sort of best-selling products into a catalog that's more user-friendly for sellers. So as you see over here, the way it's set out on Amazon is really great, except as sellers, we can't see important metrics like how many sales these products are getting. So that's why we've got the product database. You can see the number of sales and you can see lots of other important business metrics. So the way it works is by using filters. So let's go through an example. Firstly, we'll select all of our categories, or I'd recommend just starting out with a few, categories that you'd like to sell in. But a really quick tip here, I'll let you know some that I'd suggest staying away from when you first start out. And I'll tell you why. Let me just deselect them. Okay, so categories like appliances, camera and photo, cell phones, computers, electronics, all these electronics categories I'd recommend staying away from, just as they do have a lot more moving parts. There's a lot more risk of things going wrong. Then you've got clothing, shoes, and jewelry. In this category, people tend to be a lot more brand loyal. They're less likely to spend money on like a no-name brand of clothing and so forth. Then you've got grocery and gourmet food. Really anything that goes in or on your body, we'd recommend staying away from. Again, another sort of liability. You'd hate for someone to get sick from something that you're selling. It just could have potential, liability issues. The Kindle store, that's more for digital products. We want to sell physical products. So those are just a few categories I'd recommend steering away from. It's not that you can't ever sell in them, but it's just like when you're starting out, these are the ones I'd recommend steering clear of. All right, so once you've got your categories set, you come over to the filters. So I'll go through what I believe are the most important filters. Firstly, price. We're going to go a minimum of $18 to $50. Now, below $18 or maybe $15, the profit margins tend to get very slim. So I don't recommend going much lower than that. But also below $50, people are still willing to make impulse buys on products or brands that they don't know. So that's why I chose those numbers. The next filter I'm going to look at is sales. And we're going to go a minimum of 300 sales per month. Now, this is one very important metric. It represents demand. You want to make sure that there's a lot of demand for the product you're going to sell. You want to make sure that people actually want it, okay? So that's why we're selecting 300 sales per month. Now, the other really important filter that you want to use is over here in reviews. Okay, and so this represents your competition. Okay, so you want to make sure there's a lot of demand for your product, but you equally want to make sure that it's not too competitive. If you imagine listings out there that have hundreds or thousands of reviews, and you come in with your competitive product with 0 reviews, it's going to be very hard for you to compete. So that's why I'd recommend having a maximum reviews of 50 to 80. So we'll put 80 in for this example. Now, we could just click search here. These are sort of the top filters that I'd recommend using, but I do want to run through at least a couple more of them for you to give you an idea of how to use them. So the first one here I want to explain is underneath reviews is rating or average star rating. This is a rating out of 5 that every product on Amazon is given. So what we're going to do here, we're going to make a maximum star rating of 3.5. So this means, we're only going to see listings that have a rating of 3.5 or lower, which is actually pretty poor on Amazon. So if you imagine that you've got, high sales, but at the same time it's a poorly rated listing, then this gives you opportunity to improve upon that product. Okay, this is a really cool strategy. The way I recommend doing this, oops. Hey guys, I'm just gonna do a quick check-in and make sure that you guys can all hear me. Let me just quickly jump to the chat box. I wanna double check that you guys are hearing me because this stuff's important. Everything looks good on my end. I'm not seeing anything in the chat box otherwise. Okay. Sweet. So, average star rating. You want to be looking at products that have, below, say, 3.5. Now, the way I'd go about improving upon a product is... Oh, sorry, just give me one sec, guys. I'm just double checking again that there's no technical issues. Sweet. So what I would do is to go into these listings that have these poor reviews, look at the 1 and 2 star reviews, and then look at the things that people don't like about that particular product, and then take those to your supplier. And then get your supplier to fix those problems, and then bring that improved version of the product back to market. So that's why this filter, average star rating, and this strategy is really, really cool. Next, I want to show you another filter, LQS, or Listing Quality Score. So every product within our database, we give a ranking between 1 to 100 based off of its listing quality score, with 1 being a poor listing, 100 being a great one. So what we're going to do here is make it a maximum of 50. Whoops. So what we're looking at is listings that have a poor listing quality. Okay, so again, this gives you the opportunity to improve upon the marketing. You could sell that same product, however, you can improve upon things like maybe adding more images, better description, title, bullet points. Gives you that opportunity to improve upon the marketing and capture some of those sales from your competitors. So that's another really cool strategy. Now, a couple of other little filters here. You've got product tier up the top. Generally speaking, I would stick to standard. You want to sell a product that's small and lightweight. Greg's rule of thumb is it fits in a shoebox, which I think is a pretty good one. Oversized products tend to be bigger, heavier. They cost more to ship. There's restrictions on how many you can send into Amazon. So would recommend steering clear of oversized products. So if you check standard, you should be all good. You can also filter by the seller type. So whether they're fulfilled by Amazon, fulfilled by merchant, or sold directly by Amazon. However, personally, I don't check these. I just prefer to search all of them. So I would leave this as it is. Now, if you come up with a filter set that you really like, you can come up here and save that filter set. Let's go Lenny's favorites. Excuse the jet flying above me. I'm right under a flight path. But this is what I'd really recommend you guys doing here, is just experimenting with the filters and different combinations. If you have too many filters filled out, you might restrict your results too much. So I'd probably only have like maybe 3 or 4 at a time at most. Also, if you have no idea where to start, you can come over to Load Filter Set, and we've actually got some presets here to help get you started, and you can have a play with those. Once you've got your filters, come down to Search. All right, and voila. Now you'll see the total number of results up the top here. You can also export these results into a spreadsheet to view later on. Let me go through the columns that you've got here. So you've got the price of the product, you've got the fees, which refers to Amazon's fees, what their cut is, and then the net amount, which subtracts their fees, okay? So this is the amount that you will get credited when you make a sale, okay? So if we click on this net amount, it brings up this really cool profit calculator. Now here you can, if you're honing in on a product that you want to sell, this is where you can figure out your profit margins. So let's say I wanted to sell this product, and I know that, let's say it's $8 for the product, and then also it's $2 per unit to ship it to the US. So that makes a total cost of $10. Now I can hit calculate profit, and boom, I can see that I'm making that you will make $20 profit once you take away your product cost and when you take away Amazon's fees. The other cool thing that you can do here is experiment with the product price. So you could be saying like, okay, I'm making an improved version of this product. I think I can sell it for $43. I can see what the profit margin looks like there. Or maybe your strategy might be, okay, I'm starting out with 0 reviews. I might need to price it a little bit lower to begin with so that I can get some sales. So, how low can I go and still be profitable? So you can play around with the product price and the product cost in this calculator. So that is a really great tool, and one that I recommend doing using when you're getting close to launching a product. Next, you've got the weight of a product, you've got the number of reviews, which we discussed, and also the average star rating. You've got the LQS score. Again, lower numbers mean a poor listing. And then you've got the sales and revenue for that product. Now, you can also open this listing up on Amazon so you can see what it looks like there. When you found some products that you really like, the next step would be to come over here to add to group. Now, I'll explain what that is in a moment. This sends it over to the product tracker. So let's, I'm going to choose, what product should I choose? I'll just use this one. Let's go new group, and you select the marketplace. This is the US. And now we'll give it a name. Dodge Challenger. Well, I'm not actually sure what it is. It's a plastic toy. Okay, let's go create and add product. All right, so as soon as that's done, that will be sent over to the product tracker, and I'll come back to what the product tracker does for you. All right, so that wraps up an overview of the product database. Now I'll quickly take you through the Niche Hunter, which is the other tool to help you generate product ideas. So you'll see that the Niche Hunter looks very similar to the product database. It's got similar categories and filters, with the difference being that instead of entering the numbers, you've got these sliders here instead. So let's set up filters similar to before. So we want at least 300 units per month. We want roughly like $18 to $50-ish dollars. We want the competition levels to be lower. Now, you'll also notice that there is, I'm just gonna wait for this jet because that's really loud. Hopefully you guys can't hear it as well as I can. All right, I think it's gone. So, opportunity score is a new filter that we've got here, and it's exactly as it sounds. It's how good is this opportunity, with the higher values being a better opportunity. So, let's move this up. We want, higher opportunity. Now, real quick, before we do a search, let me explain, what is the niche hunter? How is it different to the product database? Well, instead of just showing you individual listings that match your criteria, what the niche hunter will do is it will actually show you an entire niche. So I'll show you an example. If we scroll down here, actually I'll hit search. I believe if you don't select categories, it should search all of them. Now, what Niche Hunter actually shows you are keywords. Now, if you search this keyword on Amazon, these are the top listings that will appear. And so the average, it will average these products out. So the average of the price will fall within our criteria, as well as the average sales per listing will also fall within our units sold. And then again, with the average number of reviews. So it kind of averages out the top products within a niche or keyword. So why would you want to do this? Well, the reason you would want to do this is because even if you've got an individual listing that matches all your criteria, high sales, low competition, there's nothing to say that there aren't other products out there that do have higher competition or higher reviews and will make it hard for you to compete. So even at that point, it's a good idea to go to Amazon, type in the product you're looking for, garlic press or yoga mat or whatever, and see what the other top listings look like. How are their sales? How are their reviews? To get an overview of the entire niche and how easy it's gonna be for you to sell within it. Okay, so that's the really cool thing about Niche Hunter, is that it kind of does that for you. It analyzes all the top products within a niche. All right, so you'll see that you've got a lot of the same information as before. You can click on the listing title up here, Champions Women's Jogger, Nike Women's Sportswear, to view it on Amazon. And then over here, you've also got the option to add to the product tracker again. So let's just do that now. So what is this? So let's go, maybe I'll just call it Women's Sportswear. Create the group. So now this is going to create a new group in the product tracker, and we are getting very close to talking about that one. Now, if you find a niche that you like, what I'd recommend doing is adding all of these top products to the tracker. So I'm going to go through, and I'm just going to add 3 in this instance, but I would aim to add 8 to 10 of the top products within that sort of niche to the product tracker. All right, so that wraps up the Niche Hunter. Now let's go across to the product tracker. I suppose one quick note, remember again, you can also save your filter sets and then load some presets again. That's up here in the top right corner. Now, the product tracker. What is it? So, what the product tracker does, in addition to giving you monthly sales estimates, the product tracker can actually give you real sales. And the way it does this is by tracking products on a daily basis. Okay, so let me show you. All right, so up the top here, you've got all the groups. You'll see the women's sportswear and the Dodge Challenger that we just added. So you've got these groups, you've got these categories of products. If I click between them, you'll see the listings that have been added to those ones. Up the top here, you've got an average of all the numbers here, average of the price and units sold and etc, etc. Let's go across to this one. And then down below, you can open up each individual listing. And then as you scroll or hover over each day, you can see the number of units sold, and you can also see the price of the product for that day. Now, again, why would you want to do this? Well, the reason being, firstly, my recommendation is, again, to add at least 8 to 10 products within a particular niche. Hey guys, I'm just gonna quickly check in, make sure that you guys can hear me loud and clear. So I'm just jumping into the chat box. It's always, really nerve-wracking when you're going live. You don't want things to go wrong. So I do just want to take this moment to make sure everyone can hear me loud and clear. If you can hear me and there's no issues, just give me a yes in the chat box. Danny says, yep, we can hear you. Awesome. Thanks, Danny. Thanks, Rolando. Let's dive back in. So I would recommend tracking a whole bunch of products within a particular niche, and then I would recommend tracking them for at least 2 weeks, ideally more. The reason being, if you track a product for say 3 days, those sales numbers could vary quite a lot. Whereas if you track it over 2 weeks, you get a much clearer idea of what the average number of sales is over a longer period. And I'll demonstrate my point. So if we come up to the top of the product tracker, you see you can actually change the date range from 7 days to 60 days. Let's just go 30 days for this example. Now, if I scroll down, you now see we've got a lot more data to deal with. So for instance, on these 2 days here, if you'd only looked at the product tracker or tracked the product for a couple of days, you'll see, one day it's 12 units sold, the other day is 16. It's not a huge difference, but if you're making business decisions, it's like, does it make an average of 12 or does it make an average of 16? The difference could be a lot different. See, on this particular day, they did 20 sales, and then over here, they did 7 sales. So the longer you track for the more confident you can be in the sales numbers that you're getting. So that's what the product tracker is really about, is verifying the sales numbers that you're getting. So that's why I recommend tracking for at least 2 to ideally 4 weeks and tracking a whole bunch of products within your niche so you can be really confident in the numbers that you're getting. All right, you'll see for each individual listing, you've got the price here, the average price across all of this data. You've got the units sold and the revenue. Again, you can open this one up on Amazon. You can even add product notes here. So, if you're honing in on a product, you can make some specific notes there to keep track of all of your notes and product research. So that wraps up the product tracker and also the find products section. Actually, there's one last thing that I should mention within the product tracker. When you create a group here, let's say we've got this women's sportswear. We've only got 3 listings at the moment, but as I mentioned, it's a good idea to have more. We've got this recommend product button here, and what it will do, I think it's based off of the title of the group. It will then give you recommendations of other products within that niche. So now I can pick some of these other ones and then add them to this particular group. So I can start to build out this group. So that is a really cool feature. One other thing to keep in mind as well is that if a product has not been tracked before, like some of these, I'm going to open this up, you might get this message saying, come back in 48 hours. So don't freak out, but because we do track these in real time, if it's never been tracked before, then we do need that first 48 hours or couple of days in order to get those first sales numbers, okay? So, which is totally fine because, as I said, I recommend you tracking a product for at least a couple of weeks anyway. So it's fine to wait a couple of days, but I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. All right, so on to the next section, which is the keywords section. Let's go into Keyword Scout and let's dive into an example. So first up, I'm going to do a search. I'm going to say yoga mat. And what this actually does is that this gives you, these are keywords that, people search on Amazon, and it gives you the exact search volume. So you'll see nearly 200,000 people search for yoga mat per month. How is this really useful? Well, this helps you, is another good way to kind of validate the demand for a product. Like 200,000 people searching for a product is a lot. You know that this product is popular, that a lot of people are selling it, okay? So that's a really great thing. What's the difference between exact and broad match? Well, exact match means that people searched for yoga mat specifically. Broad match includes words before and after and in between and plurals and all of that sort of thing. So an example might be, it'll include hot yoga mat or red yoga mat or whatever the case may be, all those variations. So that's the total search volume that includes yoga mat, and the exact is 200,000, which is a lot. So that's a really great way to use this data during product research. Now I don't want to go into these other fields too much. I'm going to give a very, very quick overview because they are more advanced and stuff that we'll cover in later training. But very briefly, recommended giveaway. When you first launch a product on Amazon, you have no reviews and you really need to get sales. And a very popular strategy to do this is to hold what's called a promotional giveaway. This is where you discount a whole bunch of your units to quickly get sales. And the result of this is that it helps you climb up the ranking on Amazon's search. So if you're trying to target yoga mat, you're selling a yoga mat, the more giveaways that you do, the more sales you get quickly, it will help you climb that ranking. And so the recommended giveaway number is how many sales or giveaways we recommend you would need to do on a daily basis for up to 2 weeks. We've found the best success if you do it for about 2 weeks. And if you do that, it will greatly improve your chances of getting onto page 1 of search results, and then you'll start to get more, you actually get exposure, and you'll start to get more natural sales. So that's what recommended giveaway is. HSA bid. You might have seen those like banner advertising at the top of Amazon search pages. This is how much we think you would need to bid in order to have your ad displayed there. Then you've got exact and broad PPC bids. Again, you might have seen Amazon, this is also known as Amazon sponsored ads. So this is where you can pay money to have your listing moved up the search results. So this is great if you're starting out. You've got, when you start out, you're probably on like page 20 or 50 of search results. If you can actually now pay and get your listing displayed up the top of page 1 or on page 1, or depending on how much you bid. More competitive products, there are more people advertising, therefore the bid goes up. So these are how much we think you would need to bid in order to be displayed there. Ease to rank is exactly as it sounds. How easy is it going to be to rank on this keyword, with higher numbers being better? So again, that's just a very quick overview of the keywords. Once you find some keywords that you like, what you can do is select them all here, and then click on this drop down and go, you can create a keyword list. So I've already done, I've already got a couple of lists here for yoga mat, so I'm going to add them to this particular list. So we now have over in my lists, you'll see that I've created a couple of lists here before, and so these will display all the keywords that I have searched for previously. All right. Now, what other uses are there for keywords? Well, keywords are also really helpful once you're building out your listing. You can take these keywords and take the most popular ones for your product, and I'd recommend inserting them into your title, into your bullet points and description. This helps optimize your listing to appear when people search for those keywords. You can also use them in those PPC campaigns or sponsored ads that I mentioned before, where you can then pay to have your listing appear on those keywords. So keyword research is very, very powerful, and that's what you can do with Keyword Scout. All right. Now, finally, the other tool in keywords is Listing Builder. So I won't cover this one too much. We will have more additional training on this in the future, but in the Listing Builder, you can actually take those lists of keywords that you've created and help build out your listing. So it will help you insert them into the title, bullet points, description, and so forth. All right. So that is what the listing builder is for. All right, so that covers the keyword section of Jungle Scout. But before we wrap it up, I do want to show you a couple of other things, a couple of other tools that we have. All right, so we've also got the extension. So this is a separate tool that runs live on Amazon, okay? So basically you perform a search on Amazon and then you click the extension button up here in the top right corner, and then it will, it'll immediately give you back a snapshot of all the sales, the reviews, the listing quality score, all that information that we've been talking about today, all in one snapshot. You can export this data as well to view later, but it's just really handy in, if this is good if you've got some ideas on what you'd like to sell. You can just keep searching around on Amazon, type in the name of a product, and then it'll instantly give you all of that information which you can then export. All right, and then one other really cool thing, it's got this opportunity score where it basically just does a quick analysis for you and gives you an idea of whether or not it's a good niche to go into. By the way, I would not recommend going into yoga mats because it's very competitive. So that is the Chrome extension. You don't need that as well as the rest of the Jungle Scout tools. Again, it is a separate product. However, they do work very well together. For instance, if you're trying to track products and you do have to wait that 48 hours for the real sales to be calculated, you could be using the Chrome extension instead. You can also add products to the tracker directly from here. So if I found something I like, I can add it directly to the product tracker. So the Chrome extension is a really great tool to check out, and we will have other videos that cover that in more detail. The other tool we've got is the Jungle Scout Market. So this is where we've got all the best Amazon freelancers all in one place. That's the tagline. So basically, think of it kind of like Fiverr, but all the freelancers on the Jungle Scout Market are specific to Amazon. So they've got experience working with Amazon sellers, which is the key difference here. So you can come here to get your product photography done, your lifestyle photography, get people to help you with copywriting, creating logos, helping you run PPC campaigns, keyword research, anything related to selling on Amazon. We've got people on here to help you with it. And again, these people, they're experienced with Amazon, they're vetted by our team, so we've got the highest quality freelancers there. So that's another great resource to check out. Now, some final notes on Jungle Scout. We do have a little widget down here. We've got an amazing customer support team who've been working tirelessly to create tons of resources to help you guys out. So if you do have any questions, type in a keyword for what you're looking for and you'll get some articles that will come out to help you. Otherwise, if you're still stuck, you can reach out to us. We've got like we've got 24/7 coverage. We've got people across the world. I believe we've got the best customer support team out there. So definitely utilize this help center if you need it. All right, and so that wraps up this demonstration of Jungle Scout. I do want to shift over to a Q&A session now, so I want to answer some of you guys' questions for about the next 10 minutes or so. I'm going to try and get through as many as possible. So if you do have any questions, please drop them in the chat box, and I will try to answer as many of them as I can. All right. I'm just bringing up the chat so that I can see it. All right, there's a ton of comments here, so bear with me. I'm gonna scroll back a little bit. Let's see, so here's a question from Yetzi, who says, my question is, 1, you are in the product search. It seems to find great products that it gives the 50 reviews, but when I search on Amazon, that search is wrong. High competition of more than 500. I think I understand what you're saying. It relates to my point earlier that, you might find one listing that is, within the criteria that you're after, high sales, low competition. But when you go to Amazon, you do need to type in that keyword, look at the entire niche, because there could very well be other listings out there that are a lot more competitive. So yes, the product database, it's a starting point. It gives you that idea, then you explore that niche more. All right. Okay, let's see. What other questions do we have? Okay, so Nemesis says, what we want to sell a product. Oh, actually, we've got some. See, I told you we've got an amazing customer support team. They've already been answering a lot of these questions. So I'll scroll down and see what new questions we have. All right. Richie says, what type of questions can we ask in the help center? I just recommend putting in the keyword of whatever it is you're looking at. And yeah, essentially you'll see what articles and material we have. If it's, if it doesn't answer your question, you can contact us and ask a direct question. City says, on Product Tracker, some niches have a lot more NA products that can't be tracked than others, even after a few days of tracking. Any advice to avoid, or why is this? If I think I'm understanding correctly, when it comes to, I'm assuming you're talking about like the Amazon FBA fees and certain fields like that, we sometimes get NA, or you will see NA, and basically that means we haven't been able to get that information from Amazon. We do rely on being able to, get that information from the listings, being able to see, get that information from Amazon. So there are certain products and times that we can't get that information. So if you keep having that issue, or you've got any specific products where that's happening, just shoot us an email through the contact form and we can take a more specific look for you. All right, Bruce Yan says, how accurate is Jungle Scout's projected sales? Cool. All right, so do keep in mind, it is an estimate, but, and I know I'm obviously biased, but I do believe we have the best sales estimates in the industry. We've got a lot of, I don't understand the technical side, but there is a lot of work that goes into our sales estimates. It uses a variety of different sources to get that information. We've got, we have a lot of real sales data that we can access, which helps us build out these estimates, plus like a bunch of lots of other factors. Junk Scout's the oldest tool, the original tool for doing product research, and so we've got access to the most amount of data, and so historically over time this has helped us build really accurate sales estimates. So I can't remember what the number is, but I think we've got like a margin of error of like 5% either way. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's something like that. So it is very accurate. All right, so Henry says, what's the minimum exact match search volume considered a good keyword to target for? That's a good question. What's the minimum exact match search volume? I don't know. I honestly, I don't know. I'm just picking some numbers out of the air. I mean, I would, if you're looking to find a product to sell, I would go more off of the actual sales numbers, how many sales per month. But if you found a product, it's doing at least 300 sales per month, so you're like, yep, this entire niche is really good, it's got a lot of demand. Then when you go over to the keywords, in terms of which keywords to target, well, really you want to target all keywords, even if it's only got 100 searches per month. In the long term, and this is like speaking to PPC, the first keywords that you want to target in PPC are generally the more popular ones, the biggest ones in your niche where the most eyeballs, the most search volume is going. But over time, you want to create more and more campaigns and be targeting some of these keywords that might only have a few thousand searches or whatnot, because chances are it's going to be a lot cheaper to advertise on those keywords. And so even though there mightn't be many people searching for that term, it's going to be a lot cheaper for you to bid and appear on those keywords, and then you'll be able to get some really cheap sort of conversions on those keywords because no one else is bidding there. And even though there might only be a couple of thousand searches per month, you might be able to get a lot of those and convert them into sales. So I hope that answers your question. John says, how do you determine if you have the most relevant keywords to evaluate your product? Good question. So that's why I find Keyword Scout to be really useful. You might find, I'm trying to think of an example, but oftentimes the first keyword that you search in Amazon may not be the best one. You might find that, you might think a product's called, I don't know, a yoga mat, but then you search for it in Keyword Scout and you go, oh wow, actually like exercise mat or something else is actually way more popular, and yoga mat isn't actually the main sort of keyword that people search in order to find that product. At that point, I would try to figure out what is the most common or popular keyword that people search, and then I would open that up on Amazon, because sometimes if you're looking at the keyword that's less popular, there might be less competition, but in fact, if people are actually searching for exercise mat, you might look at that and go, wow, there's actually a lot more competition here. Maybe this isn't the best product to be selling. So I don't know if that's the angle that you wanted me to go in, but feel free to drop in a follow-up question and I'll try to get to it if you have it. David Wilson says, can you save the filters in the Chrome extension tool? Good question. Offhand, I can't remember. I feel like you probably can. So I will need to double check that, but I'll find out for you. Okay, sorry if I get your name wrong, but Abayomi, apologize for butchering your name if I did. How much do I need to start this business? This is a question we get asked a lot, and the real answer is that it does depend and it does vary, but I want to give you guys like some kind of idea. Honestly, you really want to be, to do it comfortably, I would say you would want at least $2,500 to $3,000 to start it. There are certain cases and stories of people starting it with lower numbers, lower than a couple of thousand, like $1,000 or $500, but it just means your growth is a lot slower. I think if you've got like $500 or $1,000 and you want to start this business, I would recommend trying to save up till at least you've got $2,000. I think $3,000 is a more comfortable number. If you've got more, then that's great. It will help you scale your business quicker. But that's the ballpark figure I would give you. Obviously, it depends on a lot of factors like what product you get and so forth. How competitive is the niche that you're going into. But I would say $2,000 to $3,000. If you can get that much, you've got a good chance. All right, James says, do we buy from suppliers through Jungle Book? So probably the best place currently to go is like Alibaba is one of the most popular kind of marketplaces to find suppliers. A lot of them are in China, but there are other parts of the world. So that's a great place to go to. You can also, actually we do have another feature coming up which will help you verify suppliers. So stay tuned for that one. But at the moment, I just recommend going to Alibaba. Okay, so Jay Chan Skyball says, how do we interpret the results on the tracker? Basically, in a nutshell, what the product tracker is doing is verifying the sales estimate you've already got. So you've looked in the product database, Niche Hunter, or the Chrome extension, and you see, great, this product does 346 sales per month. That can vary a little bit. So that's why I would go into the product tracker, track that product and others within that niche for like 2 to 4 weeks. And basically you want to just figure out you just want to validate that number of 346. So that's why I track it for like 2 weeks. And if you can see, adding up all the daily sales, or let's say you track it for a month and you can see, yep, all the daily sales that we're calculating or that we're, tracking in real time, if that all adds up to, 346, you can be like, yeah, okay, this is legit. You can just feel more confident. So you're just trying to verify or back up the sales estimate that you get initially. I hope that makes sense. Keep in mind though, guys, with all of our tools, in the top right corner, there is a button to watch a tutorial. So if you've got any more questions that I haven't covered, you can click on the tutorial to view additional video material on how to use each tool. Today was a very brief overview. Also keep in mind, everyone today, I believe you're going to get sent out some goodies, a PDF and some material that I think will give you some more tips and sort of outline everything I've covered today. All right, I'm just going to answer a couple more questions and then we're going to wrap this up. So Bobby says, Lenny, when you search on the product database, is the system designed not duplicate the listing? Sometimes you search the item on Amazon and then you run the extension and you see 12 to 15. All right, sorry, let me just see if I can understand the question. Is the system designed not to... You shouldn't see, the product database shouldn't duplicate the exact same listing. I don't believe. Sorry, I don't quite understand your question. Feel free to send us in, if this is an issue that you're having, feel free to send us in a ticket and we can answer your question specifically. All right, okay, I'm just going to quickly answer another 2 questions. Oh, Jesse says, how much was your initial investment to launch your first product? This is a good question. This was about 3 years ago, I think. A bit over 3 years ago. I think my initial investment was about $2,500. I lost it, but somebody asked, do you have any recommendations for like more resources on learning? The Jungle Scout YouTube channel. You'll see my face there. You'll see Rolando and Greg and Becky, and you see like a whole bunch of faces. We've got Joel and Adam from the team as well, their Amazon unboxing series. But on our YouTube channel, we're doing our very best to create the best training in selling on Amazon and FBA material. We've got a lot of great videos coming up, so I'd highly recommend heading over to our channel, youtube.com/Jungle Scout, and subscribing if you haven't already. We're releasing videos every week. So just, quick little shout out for our YouTube channel. Okay, actually this looks like a good question. Lenny, how would you use the web app differently for different marketplaces? US versus UK versus Canada. This is a good question. The main thing I'd keep in mind is that the US is by far the biggest and all the other marketplaces are a lot smaller. I would use, for instance, like the competition levels, the number of reviews, I would keep that fairly similar, like maximum 50 to 100 reviews. You still want that to be same. The main thing that would change is the sales that you are looking for. So rather than like 300 sales minimum per month, I'd probably drop that back to 150 or maybe even 100 sales, because just the volume of sales is a lot smaller. So you've got to take that into consideration. There are more differences, but that's probably the biggest one. All right, I'm going to answer one more question, and then we're going to wrap up for today because we're approaching the hour. Okay, Patrick says, how many SKUs do I need to succeed in this business? The great thing is, it's really up to you. How big do you want this business to be? Really, you just need to start with one. There are people that make, just a few $1,000s extra per month just off of one SKU or sometimes more. But the great thing is you just focus on this one product, you get that one product out, and then once you're comfortable with that, you're able to restock it and things are, going really well, you just duplicate the exact same, process again, and you just add another layer of income above that. Adding more products, it does also kind of protect you a little bit, or what if spreads the risk a little bit. Like if one product is not selling so well in a season, the other product might pick up the slack and whatnot. So there are other benefits to having additional products, but you don't necessarily need to worry about when you first start out going like, oh my gosh, I need to get like 10 SKUs. Some people just want to, supplement their current income and get an extra couple of $1,000s per month or whatever. or some people want to completely replace their income, and there's some people want to be millionaires. You know, you can become a millionaire from this business, but to be honest, most people that we speak to, they just want to either replace their current income or just have enough to give themselves a little bit more freedom. So it does depend on the goal that you have in mind and what you're looking to achieve. So I hope that answers your question. All right, I'm just gonna, let's see. Yeah, we've still got tons of questions here. Okay, Richie says, Rolando and Jungle Scout, is a quirky product still the best strategy for a great product? I would say yes. Generally speaking, it's kind of like the stranger products, the not so popular ones. They're really good because not everyone wants to sell them. So that's definitely a good thing to look for. All right, guys, I don't want to keep everyone any longer. I really appreciate everyone joining today. We're going to keep track of all these questions for today. We'll try to get back to you guys, or we'll create some video content to answer as many of these questions as possible and send that one out to you. So we will try and get back to every single person's question. I know that the support team has been in there answering questions like crazy. But thank you so much for joining today. Head over to Jungle Scout. We've also got a great blog there with tons of articles and content to help you out as well. As I mentioned, check out our YouTube channel, subscribe there. Also on our YouTube channel, we've got the $1 Million Case Study. This is a series hosted by Greg and Rolando, where we actually go through a live case study of a real product that we're selling. We share the product, all the numbers, and everything from step A to Z, all the steps along the way. So it's like a free FBA course that just shows you all the steps and all the exact how-tos. So, it's totally free. Highly recommend you check that one out. Or I've also got a video on there called How to Sell on Amazon. It's like a 40-minute video that gives you all the steps, or as many of the steps as I could give you in one big hit if you just want an overview of the entire process. So some great resources there. Again, thank you so much for joining today. We're going to follow up with as many answers as we can. I hope you've got some value from today, and yeah, thanks so much for joining. We'll see you guys soon. Take care.